Today, we're going to take a look at how a combination lock works. We're going to take the patent made by Baco, link in the description. We will start by how to use the lock, and then we will dive deep into how this functionality is achieved from the inside. The lock has a body. This part here is called the shackle, which needs to come out to open the lock. And this is the dial. Rotate the dial in a certain direction for 2 full rotations, and on the third rotation, stop at a certain number. Then rotate it in the other direction for 1 full rotation, and then stop at the second number. Then rotate it in the first direction to reach the third number. If you do that correctly, the shackle will come out, opening the lock. If you push the shackle back down, it will lock again, and you will need to enter the code once more. Now, this design allows you to change the combination. The way you do that is, at the start, you need to enter the correct combination so the shackle comes out. Rotate the shackle 180 degrees and re-enter the correct combination once again. Then press the shackle down, and now you can change your 3-digit combination by rotating the dial. Now your new combination is the one that should be used to open the lock. This lock also has a key that can be used if the combination is forgotten for whatever reason. Insert the key and rotate it, and the shackle will go out immediately. Now, after understanding how to use it, let's now know how this functionality is achieved. If we open the lock, we will find that it consists of many parts. Firstly, the dial is pushed onto a bent portion in the body to keep it in place. This dial has a number of teeth on its back face. These 3 pieces are tumblers. Notice each tumbler has a circular notch. This part here is the floating fence member. The reason it is called floating is due to its floating motion that we are going to see. This fence member has a rectangular opening. This rectangular opening is what receives the shackle end. Notice the shackle's further downward motion is prevented by this wall here on the frame. The idea behind the lock is, if the fence member can't move, the shackle won't come out. Notice this fence member is being pushed to the right to this wall, which is a part of the frame. The spring with the tumblers blocks the way of the fence member from moving, which keeps the lock closed. Now notice what happens if the tumblers are rotated so that the notches align in this position. The notches now receive the projection on the fence member, and the fence member will be allowed to rotate around this point here due to the action of the spring. Now the shackle can come out, opening the lock. Now we need to know how entering a 3-digit combination can align the tumbler notches. The dial has a number of teeth that come out of it. These teeth mesh with the teeth in the first tumbler, causing it to rotate. There is also a piece on the dial that protrudes out of it. Now we need to introduce 2 pieces. These are called tumbler drivers, and these are called spacers. The spacers only separate the pieces by a certain distance. The tumbler drivers basically have teeth on their outer surfaces that mesh with the other 2 tumblers to rotate them. Notice each one of these tumbler drivers has 2 protruding pieces coming out of it. Notice when I put the tumbler drivers in place and rotate the dial rotates, and the protruding piece on the dial hits the lug on the tumbler driver, causing it to rotate with it. If you keep rotating the dial a second revolution, the protruding piece on the first tumbler driver hits the protruding piece on the other tumbler driver, causing it to rotate as well. So when the dial starts rotating, it rotates alone. Then it starts to rotate the first tumbler driver. Then if you continue rotating, you will rotate the second tumbler driver as well. Now notice what happens if you stop rotating and start rotating in the opposite direction. The dial only rotates alone because the protruding pieces are no longer hitting each other. But once again, after a full rotation, they will move together again. But the second tumbler driver hasn't moved. This means after 2 full rotations, all the parts rotate. When you change direction and rotate 1 full rotation, only the dial and the first tumbler driver rotate. And if you change the direction of rotation again, the dial will only rotate. That means you can rotate each of them to a specific orientation by only rotating the dial. And remember that the dial rotates the first tumbler, and the other 2 drivers rotate the other 2 tumblers. Now you need to do that to get all of the notches on the tumblers at the correct location needed to open the lock. And here you go. Now you can open the lock. Now, the reason why the code needs to be entered again after the lock opens is because this plate here, which moves with the shackle, hits the lug on the third tumbler, causing it to rotate slightly. This misaligns the notches in the tumblers, and you need to enter the correct combination once again. When the shackle enters the body, its end slides over the curve of the fence member, and once it reaches the opening, it will lock in it. Now we will discuss how we can change our combination. We need to introduce a new piece, which is the shifter plate. This plate has this shape here, and this bent surface rests on this plate that moves with the shackle, and it is being pressed by this spring. These plates here have some openings to support the tumblers, and they have notches to receive these lugs on the shifter plate. The idea behind changing the combination code is, if you somehow manage to disengage all tumblers from their drivers, you can rotate the drivers to what you want and then re-engage the tumblers with their drivers. Now, to do that, you need to enter the correct combination first to open the lock. After doing that, rotate the shackle 180 degrees. And remember, when the shackle comes out, it scrambles the code, so we need to enter the code again to make sure it is aligned correctly. Now, when you press the shackle down in that position, it can go much deeper than in the normal position because of this wall in the frame. Now, the plate that moves with the shackle, the one the shifter plate was resting on, is no longer in contact with it, so the shifter plate goes deeper, moving the tumblers with it. This motion causes the tumblers to disengage from their drivers, allowing you to enter your new code. After you enter the new code, notice that as the shackle moves up with the plate, the bent surface here allows the shifter plate to slide over the plate that moves with the shackle, returning everything back in place, and now the new code has been set and can be used. Now we're going to discuss how a key can be used to open the lock. The body has a hole that matches the cross section of the key, allowing it to enter. The key is specially shaped to have some teeth that mesh with this new piece here, which is called the annular bolt. When the key rotates, the annular bolt rotates with it. On the back surface of the annular bolt, there is a protruding piece. This piece moves the fence member with it, causing it to move like this, opening the lock without remembering the combination. Once you stop applying torque to the key, the spring of the fence member snaps it back into place. This causes the annular bolt to rotate back. This backward motion is stopped by this other protruding piece that hits the frame. And here you go. This is how this lock works.